Welcome to Masters Momentum Podcast with me, Darren Scott, a proud M55 Masters Sprinter. And in today's episode, it's all about celebrating Masters athletics throughout the years. And I'm going to do something that has never been done before. Well, to my knowledge anyway. Have I got you intrigued? Well, you're going to discover who I have selected to be in my top 10 male superstars of all time. And before I get started, I have got a criteria they must meet first. So for me, they've got to be an inspirational athlete, and I believe they've got to have elevated Masters athletics, and not just sort of in their own country, but being influential around the world of Masters athletics. I want them to at least have attained 3 European or world records in 3 different age groups, so I want longevity in there. I believe that I would call them basically role models. Yeah, role models to be a superstar. So no further ado, let's get to my first superstar. But to be honest, there's no particular order. So my first spot goes to an athlete that was born in 1938 in Hereford, England. And yes, I'm talking about the fantastic sprinter Ron Taylor of Great Britain, who started as a vet 40 and he continued to as a vet 17, making his career span over 30 years. He achieved multiple world and European records with so many national records, it's unbelievable how many. But he did records from 60 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres and 400 metres. And also, to be fair, he did do, to my memory serves me, he is on the all-time list in long jump. Now, he was the very first Masters athlete that I think set the bar. He competed at the first major championships in 1975 in Toronto, Canada. And his records, some of his records have been astonishingly been over 30 years. And I'm just like, wow, if I had any record lasting for over 30 years, I'd be like, wow. And when I think of all the athletes that have come after him that still haven't broke his records, and I'm talking about, he's got M50 records, 100 metres and 200 metres, which have finally been broken after 34 years. But he still holds the world records in the M60 age category in 100 metres, running 11.70. Which, I'll be honest, in 2025 I have heard that record has been broken, but to my knowledge it still hasn't been ratified. So therefore Ron Taylor still holds that world record until I see it officially ratified, with, I think it was Mario Longo of Italy who broke the record. But his 200 metre record, it's still held with 24.00. So Ron Taylor, that was set in the, I think, late 90s. So again, it must be 34 years old at the minimum. So he set the standard. So for me, he was the very first superstar, and he was just amazing. I didn't actually ever meet Ron Taylor, but I believe he wore very outgoing sort of outfits, very colourful. But I never got to meet him. But there you go. So my number 1 goes to Ron Taylor. So who is going to be number 2 on my superstar list? Well, it actually goes for an athlete that was born in 1938 in Stuttgart. So yes, he is a German athlete, and he's probably renowned as the greatest long hurdler of Masters athletics. So who am I talking about? Well, it is actually the most fantastic athlete, fabulous athlete, Guido Muller of Germany, who specialises in 300 and 400 metre hurdles. But he's been going a long time. Even in his younger days, he has a 100 metre PB of 10.9, 200 metres he ran 21.6, 400 metres 47.6, and he did the 400 metres back in his younger days running 51.3. And to be fair, he only just missed out on the 1964 Olympic Games. But he's just continued throughout his life and decided to do Masters athletics, and he has an astonishing 126 national records, 82 European records, and he's attained well, he's amassed 17 world records across 30 years of being a Masters athlete. And he attained one of his world records, believe it or not, in the UK here. In 1999, we held the first ever World Championships for Masters in the UK. And he broke the world record in the 300 metre hurdles. So brilliant to get one of the world records set over here in the UK. And we've never had it since. And it'd be nice if we could get one of the major championships back in the UK. So yes, so Guido Muller of Germany, fantastic hurler, and I'd say I think he's been outstanding athlete, and I think he's inspired athletes from all around the world. So well done for being on my list, Guido Muller. Number 3. Well, this was a guy who was actually born in London in 1931, but then went overseas and he became a Canadian citizen. And I'm talking about this fabulous athlete called Ed Whitlock of Canada, who started in his 40s, but to be honest with you, the only reason he started Masters Athletics was actually because his son decided to start up running, and that's who influenced him to say, well, yeah, I'll start back running. And he was a marathon runner, and I tell you what, at the age of 70 he ran the first ever sub 3 hours. Yes, sub 3 hours in his 70s, and it was like, wow. But this guy has got so many world records in long distance events, and even at the age of 85 he still ran sub 4 hours for a marathon. And I was like, wow, that is just amazing. Now, his philosophy was he believed in more of over distance work. He didn't really do any speed work at all. And the other thing he never did any stretching either. He's renowned for saying I didn't stretch, and he didn't do any strength training. He didn't believe in strength training, so he never did it. He was self-coached. And the other thing, he never used any sort of high-tech gadgets that we all use today. So he just went off how he felt, which is sometimes a good thing to do, because I think we all rely too much on gadgets and analysts, and like probably I do as well. We take videos, don't we? We look at we analyse what we do, and we take videos. He did none of that, so he just based it off how he felt. So he's been iconic for long distance running. He sadly passed away at the age of 86 in 2017. So for all his accomplishments, he is in my Superstars top 10. So now we come to my number 4, who, again, another German athlete. He was born in 1953, but he started as a pole vaulter in his younger days, and he's remained a pole vaulter, a fabulous pole vaulter at that. He was a youth champion in 1971 in pole vault. Then he held the German junior record, jumping 4 meters 86. And I'm talking about Wolfgang Ritte of Germany, who's amassed 85 national records, 73 European records, and 56 world records. And he's been voted European Best Masters Athlete of the Year, and been honoured at the World Athletics Gala in Monte Carlo in 2008. He pole vaulted a staggering 4 meters 73 at age 50 and over. Like, wow. And it's not only that he's just a pole vaulter. This is why he's made my list, because I did say I like people to do other things as well, or do something out their comfort zone, and this guy has got the world record as a vet 60 in decathlon with an astounding score of 8,123, which still stands to this day. And then he's got a national record in long jump for Germany at the M60. He's jumped 5 meters 76 at 60. I'm thinking, wow, that's just incredible. So there you go. So he's been very inspirational for me to read about him, because I'd say he started as a younger athlete, but he's continued throughout his years. So there's a longevity, isn't it? And he still competes today. So fabulous athlete, and that is number 4. So number 5 goes to a American sprinter, been around for many, many years, and I'm talking about the fabulous Bill Collins, who was born in 1950, and he's no stranger to breaking records because he's been doing it ever since his school days. And he developed into an international sprinter. And so he was an international sprinter in the 70s for America. And in 1977, he was part of a world record breaking squad that ran 38.03, winning gold at the IAAF World Cup held in Germany, which was later broken 6 years later in 1983 by another American team. He was ranked in the top 10 Americans' best sprinters in the 70s. He was regularly in the top 10. His 100 metre PB, incidentally, is 10.1. He ran a 200 metres in 20.2, and he started mass athletics as soon as he got to his 40s. He started in 1984. So that's what I love. Again, longevity. He was already an international sprinter for America. You know, he did it in school as well, and he's come and done it in the Masters, so you can imagine how long that toll on his body for that many years is just amazing. He's amassed so many world records, indoors and outdoors. And I remember when I did my first world indoor record over 200 metres, and that was back in 2010. Well, obviously, when you go on the world ranking list, you actually see who's in what age group. You know, they have a list of each world record. And I couldn't believe Bill Collins held so many. You know, it was like M50, M55, M60, M65. And I thought, wow, this guy just holds so many world records, but all on the bounce. I thought, wow, that's just amazing. And his philosophy was he preferred speed over any volume. And he's a co-author in a book, by the way, called The Ageless Athletic Spirit. And I was lucky enough to meet Bill Collins in 2014 at the World Indoor Championships in Budapest, where, you know, I met him, and it was an honour to meet him. It really, really was. It was nice to meet someone in person. But in 2011, he had an issue, and he got paralysed in his legs, believe it or not. But athletes being athletes, we've always got this thing, haven't we? But we won't give up. And I love this because Bill Collins definitely didn't give up. He actually come back from paralysed in your legs in 2011. Come back, and when I met him in 2014 in Budapest, he actually broke another world record, and I was like, wow, that's just phenomenal. It really is. And the younger athletes that look up to him always called him, like, they nicknamed him Superman. Well, he definitely meets he definitely deserves that title, doesn't he? Superman. So yes, he makes my list, Bill Collins of America. So now I come to number 6, who was born in 1929, Canadian, and he does a little bit of hurdles and more of a middle distance guy, and I'm talking about the fabulous Earl Fee of Canada. Now, he didn't start Masters Athletics until he was actually 56, fairly late, and again, he only actually decided to join Masters Athletics because his 2 sons embarked on a running program. So he decided that, well, do you know what, I'll be a part of this running program. Well, he never looked back, did he? He's attained 60 world records throughout the years, over 200 metre hurdles, 400 metres, 800 metres, 1500 metres and a mile. And so you're just thinking, wow, that's incredible. So it just shows you that you just don't know, do you? Just go out there and try, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you can still come and join the Masters. Just fabulous. And a little point, in his younger days, he was actually a nuclear engineer. So does that mean he was very intelligent, very bright? I don't know, but it's very, I'm impressed, nuclear engineer. And also, he's not just a runner, he's an author and a poet, so a very talented guy. And he's got one book called The Complete Guide to Running. And he's also got one called The 100 Years Young and Natural Way. So that's mainly on his training methods. And the other thing, when I mentioned training methods, he was somebody that adapted his training, because I think this is really important for Masters Athletics, that you just don't stick to the same old step. You try different things. And this guy decided that he had a lot of, stress and fatigue, How can he implement some training that was actually going to aid him? Do you know what he did? He trained in the water. He did a lot of training in the water, so I imagine he used a pool to do a lot of his training. And that way, do you know what it does? It takes it away from your joints, stress, and it worked for him. So he implemented that, so maybe that's something that someone else can look at. So it's a wonderful example. You're never too old. An astonishing athlete indeed. So we go to my number 7. Number 7, he was born in 1970, and we have an Olympian, a Swedish Olympian, who's in my list called Mattias Sunneborn. Now, this guy I do know very well, and I've been lucky enough to have competed against Mattias in different events, but so it's fabulous to be a part of just racing him. And this is what I'm saying about Masters Athletics as well, that you line up against former Olympians or world champions or, you know, very good international athletes back in the day, and I always think that's an honour. It doesn't matter whether they beat you or not, it's just an honour to be alongside them. That's my opinion. So to race and compete with Mattias Sunneborn was actually a privilege. He was the first Swedish athlete to ever break 8 metres in the long jump with a personal best of 8 metres 21. He also won gold in the European Championships for Sweden in 1996. He got a silver medal in the World Indoors in 1995, and he came 8th in the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games. And from there, again, longevity. Instead of just hanging up his spikes, he decided that I just love the sport, and obviously carried on. And he's amassed now 11 world records, 82 national records. But the brilliant thing about Mattias is his range. I remember him he broke a world record for 400 metre hurdles. Obviously long jump, he was an Olympian long jumper, so long jump would be his stronger, but yeah, he holds record in the long jump. But not in long jump, he actually does a world record in pentathlon. Wow. Decathlon world record holder. So it's just the range is just absolutely fantastic, and he's such a lovely man. But not only does Mattias Sunneborn do Masters Athletics, he is an ambassador for Suicide Zero in his own country. He's a mentor. He's a leader in Swedish Masters Athletics, so he's well deserved to be in my top 10 superstars. Moving on to number 8. This guy was born in Middlesbrough in England in 1953. He is a multi-world and European champion, and of course I'm talking about Dr. Steve Peters, also known for his world-renowned book about the human mind, which is called The Chimp Paradox, which is one book. Another book, My Hidden Chimp, The Silent Guide, and Through the Jungle. So he was an inspiration. But let me tell you, if it hadn't been for Steve Peters, I don't think I'd be in Masters Athletics, because when I was reading about this guy and his world records that he was setting, that's what inspired me. And he still inspires me to this day. That's why I continue. I was lucky enough that I met Steve Peters back in 2007 in Helsinki, Finland. I think it was European Indoor Masters Championships, I believe. And so it was great to meet him. The person who got me into Masters Athletics, I finally met, and he's just an incredible guy. We had a chit chat, and he was very inspirational, and it was a good chat. And he didn't start till his 40s. He didn't do any running in his younger years, and he ran in his 40s 10.9 for the 100 metres and 21.9 in the 200 metres. What's brilliant about Steve, he's just been kept going, setting records, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, and now he's even in his 70s still winning. It's not often I ever see him get beat, to be honest with you. I think he's won so many gold medals at championships, but he's an athlete that usually does 1, 2, 4. These later years, he's not been doing so many 1, 2, 4, doing the triple, because it must get harder. I mean, that's what I love in it. How do you keep your body in such great condition? You can go through all the rounds in these championships, so they're amazing. But yeah, even in his 70s, to run sub 13 in your 70s is just absolutely incredible. So hats off to Steve Peters. He's made my top 10 superstars, and so well deserved, because as I say, without Steve Peters I wouldn't be in Masters Athletics. So we got to thank Steve on that note. Okay, so Steve was actually number 8. So we come to our number 9. Now this guy has just made it. He's a new, I wouldn't say a new athlete. He's been around a long time, but because he's just gone into another age group and broke another world record, he actually comes into my criteria. So who has just made my criteria being number 9 is Roland Groger, born in 1964, German athlete. He's absolutely fabulous. 60 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres, but he's renowned for breaking 400 metre world records indoor and outdoor. And I recently watched him at Gainesville in the indoors there, and he did a 60, 200, 400, won golds for all 3, broke the world record in the 400 metres. And I just think, how do you go from a 60 to a 400? Because obviously the 60 is pure, speed and power. 400 metres, a lot of speed endurance. So to go from that range in the championships, do all the rounds and win them all was like, wow. And obviously to break the world record at the end of that, I was thinking, wow, incredible. And he does like a 3-point start. He doesn't do traditional block starts. I think he has 1 foot in the blocks, so he has 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Strange start, but it works for him, obviously. And I've seen other athletes doing it now, so are they copying him, or has he adopted that through watching someone else? I really don't know, but it was incredible. And then he went to the European Championships in Madeira, and he ran a 1, 2, 4, and guess what? He won them all again, 1, 2, 4. And then, obviously, did the relays as well. I was just like, how do you keep your body throughout the whole year? I mean, indoors and outdoors, all them events, and not breaking down. So he must have some fabulous training program. So that's, maybe Roland should be thinking about bringing your own training program out, because I'd be interested to see what you do for your training, how you've kept yourself in such fantastic condition without breaking down with injuries. So, yes, Roland, please share with us. Okay, we're going to come to number 10 of my last of my superstars from this list. Now, I've decided that I'm not going to select number 10. I'm going to leave it to you guys. So, send me a message or comment on this post. Who do you think deserves to be in that top 10, that last spot? Leave it up to you guys. See who you decide or who you think, and I'll have a look at them, will be in my top 10. So maybe some people have been surprised, because there's one athlete, a brilliant international athlete, that I've not included in my list. And to be honest with you, he's not met all my criteria, which is unfortunate. But to be honest with you, the guy deserves a special mention anyway. So who am I talking about? Well, it is American sprinter Willie Gault, who holds so many outdoor world records in the Masters 100 metres from M45, which is 10.72, which was equalled by Lion Martinez of Sweden. Then he has the M50 world record with 10.88, the M55 world record with 11.30, and yet none of them have been surpassed. And Willie Gault was originally a 110 metre hurdler for America, and his PB is 13.26. He ran 100 metres in 9.95, 200 metres 20.68, but he was part of a world record squad in a 4x1 relay in 1983 in Helsinki, and he was part of a team alongside Emmett King, Calvin Smith and the legend Carl Lewis, running a staggering 37.86 seconds, which took the world record incidentally off the team I named earlier with Bill Collins, that was 6 years old. When Bill Collins ran it in 1977, Willie Gault broke it in 6 years later in 1983, Helsinki, Finland. Yeah, so there you go, there's a part of history. But also Willie Gault was not just known for his track and field. He's probably better known as he had 11 seasons with the Chicago Bears, winning the Super Bowl. So in America, if anyone says Willie Gault, they all remember him for the NFL. And I believe he does a bit of acting as well, being in a few films, I believe. So he's definitely a superstar in his own right, but he's not a superstar in Masters Athletics because he just hasn't been doing the major championships, which that would have really put him up there. But unfortunately, he only actually did one, I think, in 2011, where I met him, which was on his home turf, Sacramento, in America there. So I did get to meet him, got my picture took with him. But yeah, so it was an honour to meet him, and it was also an honour to break one of his world records, which I'm very delighted at. So moving on from that, I say to people out there, and people, you know, there's so many household names that have competed as a Masters athlete. They're not necessarily gone and done any of the championships, but they've continued, you know, 35, 40, 45s. So I'm just going to mention a few names there that have actually done Masters Athletics, and see people at home or listeners might say, yeah, I've heard of that name. Well, they still competed in the later years, so I'm going to mention Zola Budd. Some people may and may not remember that name, but obviously it's a name that I remember. Obviously, more recently, Dwayne Chambers. We had a very famous athlete, high jumper, Dick Frosby. Everybody knows, or I'm hoping people know, that he actually revolutionised high jump, didn't he, with the Frosby flop? That's how it was called. And yeah, he competed in the Masters, so it's always good to have someone like an iconic name that brought something special to the high jump. So yeah, Dick Frosby. And we had our own Olympian, Dalton Grant. Never did the Masters, but he holds the world record indoors, I believe, for the M40s. Another big name I remember, Johnny Gray, 800 metre runner from America, ran a 1:42 for an 800 metres, so staggering time, right up there with the elite at the time. And he holds world records in the 800 metres, as I say. Another famous guy, mostly known for his clothing, which he's passed away not that long ago, was the lovely Ron Hill, marathon runner. 2 hours 10 minutes, I think, for the marathon back in his day. Fabulous athlete. Never did. I don't think he actually did the Masters. I don't think he competed actually as a master, but I might be wrong with that because I never met Ron Hill, so somebody out there might tell me no, he actually did run in some Masters competitions. I don't know. Another iconic person that ran in his 40s was Jim Hines in America, and most people would never know who Jim Hines was. Well, actually, he was the first athlete ever to break 10 seconds. So basically, he was a history maker, really. Yeah, the first ever human being to run some 10 seconds, the great Jim Hines. We had Roger Kingdom. He holds world records in the 110 metre high hurdles. Astounding athlete in America. I didn't think he got beaten in the hurdles for a very, very long time. Awesome. Then we have people like the old records, people like Linford Christie, Kim Collins, Jonathan Edwards. Wow, Jonathan Edwards, he still holds that world record, doesn't he, for triple jump in the younger age group, open age group. Carl Lewis, he held a world record as well, and the long jump actually, world record holder. 35s, I think he still holds the world record, Mr. Carl Lewis. And another athlete I'm going to mention, a thrower. I just want the throwers to say whether this is correct or not. Shot putter. The very famous Brian Oldfield of America holds world records in the shot put. I think M35, M40, not sure about the 45, but I believe he revolutionised the shot put where we had the glide. He did a turn, and basically it was all called the rotation. Is that correct? Did he introduce the rotation? Did he make the rotation popular? Maybe the shot putters can tell me on that one. So that's it for today's podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this, because I really, really have enjoyed naming my top 10 superstars of all time, really. And I've got one spot spare that I'm hoping you guys can help me out with, and let's put some names forward and see who makes that list. And off this list, I've done the male, I am going to do a female list. So hopefully the females will be interested to see who I put in my top 10 superstars of all time. So I'd like everyone to please share this video, podcast, because let's keep promoting Masters Athletics. So anyway, on that note, sleep well, eat well, train well, and I'll see you on the next episode of Masters Momentum podcast with me, Darren Scott. Goodbye for now.